welcome back, fellow bullshitters. Glad to have you. So, I finished another book. I'll grab it for you. I don't have the cover because I borrowed it. This is 75 Hard by Andy Frisella. And I was doing 75 Hard, started reading the book, realized, jacked it up, so I got to restart. And it's a very eye-opening moment. Let me check this. It looks crooked. All right, we're not crooked. All right, I have to cut that out. See, it was a very eye-opening moment because now I feel like I understand what the program's about, but I only made it about 30 days in. And starting back up is a bitch. I'll tell you that right now. Lots of lessons to learn, though. And I think it's a great program. I think it's more geared toward people who society kind of failed and don't really know how to manifest personal motivation. And I feel like I do not lack in that, but I still know this program has a lot of benefits. So we're going to push it out again, go for it another time. And, but my goodness, hell of a book. First and foremost, super quick read. I'll show you why. You flip to any page and it's set up kind of like this. So, not very many words per page, which is good. Easy read. Helps you more focus on the speaking matter, which is what you need to do when you're reading a book. And the main thing that I think I took away from it was he calls it the boss voice and the bitch voice. And that was kind of eye-opening because I definitely, there's a bird right there. I'm not like clinically insane, but like there's definitely voices in my head that like argue with each other, you know? You're like, man, I need to go for a run today. And then another part of you goes, yeah, but it's 115 degrees outside. And then you kind of listen to that voice. And then you're like, okay, don't end up going for a run. And it kind of runs parallel with that old Cherokee, that was butchered. That old Cherokee story, I think it's Cherokee, Native American, whatever you want to call it, where there's two wolves inside you. Whichever one you feed is gonna, overpower the other one because he's nutrient sufficient. But I kind of like to think of it as you kind of gotta starve one, Got to keep them both hungry, because once you eat, you're satisfied. You're not looking for your next meal right after your next meal. So if you just, and this is I've adopted this as my diet plan as well. I only eat once a day. It's a bit challenging to try to maintain muscle mass with eating once a day. So I supplement with like shakes, protein shakes, but I do it all relatively close together in time frame. But that's kind of getting too far into it. But actually, no, let's dig into that. So my theory that I've been working on is I'm working on getting my body as close to default, I guess, as humanly possible or as personally possible. So I've cut dairy because the enzymes needed to break down lactose are only supposed to be within your body in pre-adolescence, so when you're a kid. And so my thought process is, as long as you are producing enzymes to break down lactose, your body is going to genetically tell itself, hey, we're still in pre-adolescence, so we still need to store fat. And I mean, there are benefits, like you're going to grow longer, and you're going to, I don't know, maybe your bones won't, I don't know, because babies' bones are kind of rubbery, but I don't know. So your body is just basically going to fight whether it's going to be an adolescence or not. And I think that's kind of why they call it baby fat. And so my goal is kind of go for like a Spartan or like a Greek or something, just like a, like the movie magic body type, where your body has what it needs on it. Like I'm not going for strong man or like either marathon runner, because those are two extremes, because it's normally not super bulky marathon runners. So I don't want to be super skinny, but I don't want to be like 300 pounds of muscle. Because I think Brian Shaw is like 300 something pounds, 12% body fat. The man's a freaking unit. So my mentality is longevity and strength, which is kind of weird. So I've been doing like 45 to an hour workout, and I'll do a couple exercises, but I'll do like an insane amount of reps. Like today I did incline bench with 30 on each side, so 60 for 105, and I did 200 reps. Like not all at one time, obviously, that'd be insane. But I want to push my body to that point of where it can resist lactic acid buildup, which is why you start shaking, and when you get to like a certain amount of reps, it just depends on your body. And that's what BCAAs do. BCAAs block lactic acid, so that's why it's a pre-workout, or it's a intra workout during. So blocks lactic acid, and it has a lot of other benefits. But I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not 100% sure on what the other benefits are. But not the main talking point, I guess, but one thing that I like to preach is research your own stuff, I get a lot of questions. People are like, how do I do this? What does this do? How much should I take of this? I don't know, Like, I know how much works for me because I mess with it a lot. You got to write shit down. I think Mythbuster, I think it was Adam, what is his name? Adam Savage on Mythbusters said the only difference between, screwing around and science is writing it down. So if you want to take creatine, figure out how much is suggested, start taking that. Research like what creatine does to your body type. You're either endomorph, ectomorph, or mesomorph. So go look up what those are. There's tons of little 10 question quizzes that tell you what you are. And then you can build your training regime around that information. And it's a very important thing to know, because then you can personalize your goals to your body, because that's the only way to be efficient and have your body type that you want. But one thing that I know I need 75 hard for is that I have an issue of when I feel like I figured something out, I stop, because I'm on to the next, I'm like, okay, I learned the lesson, let's go. But there's always subsequent, and there's another echelon of lessons for me to learn, which I obviously have been missing out on. So I know I need to do it again. But yeah, that book, Andy Frisella's book, is definitely solid. He explains, I think he breaks down the challenge in 10 to 15 day increments, and just explains what he went through, what you should expect. And it's a very, very good book, very easy read. My next book that I have been wanting to read, I think for 3 years now, because I've been following him on Instagram and all sorts of stuff, and he actually does a lot of lectures. So this is Hard Times Create Strong Men by Stephan Aarnio. I think he's Canadian. And I never realized how frickin' thick this book was. Jesus Christ. And there are so many words, which is good. I like words. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to try to knock it out. I think I'm going to try to do probably 30 pages a day. Decided I like reading. And then here's my little bookmark. I think you can see that. It's a little mask, because I didn't have anything else next to me when I started reading. So yeah, also I have been journaling, which I think I talked about in the last one. Journaling's huge. It gives you a reference point and like where you're at, where you want to go. My goal, I think I have a notebook that's like, it's like this big. My goal is to write a page down every day. Just get your thoughts out, because I have trouble like shutting off my brain to go to sleep. So if I can basically download my thoughts onto a piece of paper, it's like a little USB drive, and then I make more like disk space is how I kind of think of it, which is good. And I guess it takes time, so that's the bad, but I love it. It's a great way it forces, because my dad always told me that the only way for you to know if you know something is to be able to teach it. So if you can write something down, you actually have to articulate thoughts, which helps you do shit like a podcast, which I still struggle with articulation, but it's definitely had a lot of subsequent benefits in real life, in the rest of my life. So highly suggest journaling. I cannot stress enough to do your own research. Like, people hate research, it seems like. And you can't, okay, here's a short little, like, fragment of like, when I'm interested on a topic. So let's say, and I did this a while ago, and I'm about to do it again because I'm thinking about starting to implement creatine into my diet. Let's say I want to know what creatine does. First off, I'm going to look up 3 different articles from 3 different web pages on what is creatine. Not how much creatine should I take, which creatine should I buy. I need 3 articles minimum to say, and you don't have to read the whole freaking article. It could be 5 pages. Just read it until you feel like you can explain to someone else what creatine is. And then you're going to look up, like, whatever your goal is. So you're saying, like, if I want to be able to do this type of regime, if I want to be a marathon runner, should I take creatine? If I want to build muscle, should I take creatine? Then you need to do 3 articles on that subject as well. This could take an hour or so, but you have to do at least 3 articles because the internet is the internet. Like, there's so much shit that is just piled into the World Wide Web that you can't just listen to one argument, because I'll be arguing with someone or discussing a topic with someone, and I'll Google something real quick, and they're like, oh, well, I could find an article that supports my point, and you could find one that supports your point. I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point of research. Like, you can't just do one. I mean, unless it's something that, like, once you present it, it sounds agreeable to the group, maybe stick with one. But when you're looking to do stuff for long-term research, you need to do multiple articles. And don't quit buying supplements without knowing what the fuck they do. Like, those are, like, chemicals will fuck you up. Like, the different, like, chemicals are wacky, because the difference between, like, a banana and, like, cyanide, I mean, I don't actually know because I'm not a freaking chemist, but, like, it could be like 2 chemicals, you know what I mean? Do your research. Also, I kind of lost my train of thought. So, yeah. Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, so we'll go with that. So you kind of so once you do the research, implement it in a way that you can measure it. So, and then you need to follow the regime for at least 2 weeks to a month. Don't go work out for 2 days or a week and say, oh, it's not working, I need to put more, or whatever. And you have to drink water. If you drink an energy drink a day, you need to drink more than a gallon of water. And drinking a gallon of water is kind of tough. Like, it is not a quick and easy task. It takes me all day. I can normally drink about 5 liters of water, and I have to constantly remind myself. And I'll do, like, liquid IV, which means I need to drink more water, because there's sugar in there, there's sodium. Like, your body has to process these things, and just to function, just to digest your food, you need a lot of water. So drink your damn water. It's basically free, depending where you live. But it's cheap enough and should be accessible enough for it to not be an issue. And if it is, call me and we'll figure something out. I'm not super rich. I'm not even kind of rich. I'm actually very poor, but I will figure out a way to get you water. So that's my promise to you. Which, if you're in like Africa or something, you might have to wait a couple years, and then I'll be rich, and then I'll bring you water. So, yeah, don't know where I was going with that. Bold of me to assume that I have listeners in Africa, but we'll figure it out. While we're on the topic, and I don't know if this was just like what I saw with like my parents or like my friends that I've talked to, but unless you know, and even doctors have a practice, so they don't actually 100% know things. They're just making an extremely well educated guess that you should change things in your diet, right? Because there's new science all the time, which is why you need to research. But so what I like to tell the people I like have close to me is diet diversity. If you go out and eat the same thing, or if you even stay home and make the same thing, your body, it's unless you know that, like, so maybe your ancestors were fishermen and they lived on a boat and all they ate was fish, which they had to eat the guts too, because that's how you get your vitamins and stuff. Maybe at that point you could eat a lot of like just fish. But I'm telling you right now, from that time where they just ate fish to now, your ancestors did not just eat fish, unless you know that. And you, like, I think I don't want to mispronounce their name, but there's a society of people up in where there's ice, and they just basically eat fish because that's all there is. I think it snows or not snow, but there's always ice, so they got to eat fish all the time, like raw fish. So to bring the point home, diet diversity. Eat different shit. Make things that you've never made before. Don't eat the same granola bar every day. Switch up brands, switch up types of fruits and nuts, you know? Your body, so the way I see it is if you eat the same thing every day, your gut and your stomach and your muscles and your brain, they're going to get used to functioning on those things. And so the process is to break down a very diverse breadth of food is going to atrophy, which means you're not using it. So your body's going to be like, I ain't wasting calories on this. Your body is coded for survival. I saw a story one time. There's this dude, I think in Africa, for some reason, he just had his arm above his head for like 12 years. He had no muscles, no tendons, he went full rigor mortis right here. And that's atrophy because he didn't use it, so his body said, and also it was tired of pushing blood up there. So I don't actually know, and I will tell you this straight up. This is my estimated assumption that there are processes in your body that will go away if you do not use them. That sounds intelligent enough. I don't actually know, but that's what I've been doing. I like to eat all different sorts of shit, and then it's fun, you know, going to the store and you're like, I've never bought one of those because I just didn't know what it tasted like. So you buy one. Sure, it might be expensive to buy one of something like in the produce section or whatever, but then tried kombucha. Am I saying that right? Kombucha? Yeah, I tried that for the first time the other day. That shit was $4. It was okay. Probably won't become a kombucha fan, like a hyper fan, but it was good shit. So surprise your body too. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger has a part on that. He's like, don't go into the gym and do the same exact thing every day because your body and your brain expect that. It's the same with your diet. Change shit up. Push your body. If you have those thoughts where you're like, it's it's 112 degrees outside today, I probably shouldn't go for a run. That's when you should put your shoes on and go for a run. That's when you got to silence that bitch voice and let your boss voice take over, according to Andy Frisella. I do agree with that. So yeah, drink your water, read your books, do better.